Have you ever tried to watch F1 and feel like you've missed 27 chapters of a book? Let's fix that. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kea, and I know I have been MIA longer than Ferrari's last championship title, but
I'm back.
anyways, let's get to why you are here. If you've recently watched the F1 movie and now you're curious, or you've been watching races for a while but you still don't really know what a chicane actually is, I got you. So for this video, I asked a couple of my friends to list down the things, the concepts, the terms, which they were confused about when they first started watching F1. And the list was quite long, and I understand that because it's same. But because I cannot include all of that in just one video because it will be a very long video then. So I'll try making parts, and if I don't make certain parts, it's because I don't even know what I'm saying. If you do want me to make another part explaining more topics, more concepts, more terms, then let me know in the comments below. I will be trying to make that as well. But for now, let's get started with tires, the main divas. Tires in F1 are like zodiac signs. Everyone has them, no one fully understands them, and the wrong one at the wrong time. Total disaster. So first off, we have the dry tires, which are called slicks, also called slicks, and they are of three different types: softs, mediums, and hards. So the soft tire is like the situationship you know won't last. It's hot, exciting, will give you everything right now.
But it burns out really fast.
It has got great grip and it's ideal for faster slaps or like qualifying or short stints, but there's a commitment issue. So expect a pit stop soon. Medium tire is like your comfort TV show. It is reliable, it's balanced, and it doesn't do too much, doesn't do too less. It's just right. It has got a solid grip, it has got decent longevity, can handle most race vibes, and when you're not sure which strategy will work, this is a safe and steady queen. So hard tire is like the friend who brings Excel to a party. Not flashy, kinda stiff, but is secretly the backbone of everything. They are slower, they've got lesser grip, but they last way longer. They're best for endurance if you're playing for the long game. Why the variety? Because grip versus durability is the ultimate trade-off in F1. With the softs, you've got great grip, they're faster, but they degrade faster as well. With the hards, on the other hand, you've got lesser grip, they're slower, but they give marathon energy. Tire choices come down to how smooth or crazy the track is, how the drivers are racing, and also data that goes deeper than any T in F1 group chat. Now, if you're thinking why white, yellow, and red for the specific tires, well, it's really just for clarity. They're easy to see at such high speeds, and it's clear for the fans who are watching worldwide. So there's no science mystery, it's just smart visual branding. By F1 rules, in every dry race, every driver has to use at least 2 sets of compounds, which means 1 pit stop is mandatory. Now, it's just not about who drives the fastest. It's about when to stop, which tire to switch to, and how to mess with other teams' strategies.
The 2025 campaign comprises 6 slick compounds, from hardest to softest, which is C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6.
Pirelli, the official and exclusive tire supplier for F1, chooses 3 for each weekend, based on the track temperature, the track surface, and the circuit in itself. So these 3 are relabeled now. The soft ones are the softest ones, the medium ones are the middle ones, hard ones are the hardest ones. Now this means that tread is soft for every weekend, right? But what kind of soft? That depends on the track. Now let's quickly get into the wet tire category. So there are 2 different types, one which is intermediates or inters, and the second which is full wets. So intermediates are for the slide train, which has like decently wet ground, wet track, and they have a decent grip basically. But the full wets, full on hurricane mode. Unlike dry tires, these have tread. So the grooves help push away the water and try to stop the car from sliding like a penguin on a slip and slide. We don't want that happening. Also, during a wet race, the rule to use 2 compounds is cancelled. A driver can stay on one wet type the entire race because now the survival mode is activated. For a regular race weekend, every driver gets 2 sets of hards, 3 sets of mediums, and 8 sets of softs. Additionally, they get 4 sets of inters and 3 sets of full wets. just in case Mother Nature gets messy. In case of a sprint weekend, it's very different. You get 2 hards, 4 mediums and 6 softs instead, and during sprint qualifying, you have to use mediums for Q1 and Q2 and softs in Q3. Okay, let's talk about the tire drama. The random words that commentators throw around all the time which you think are made up but actually they mean something. Let's start with blistering. So when the tires get too hot in a particular spot, it starts bubbling up, like the rubber starts bubbling up and it peels off. That is called blistering. It messes with the grip and makes the tire feel like it's falling apart mid-race. Graining. Graining happens when the tire is way too stressed and it starts shredding like little rubber crumbs. Marbles. Marbles are the little rubber bits that fly off everyone's tires and they sit on the side of the track. If a driver accidentally runs over them, grip is gone. Imagine you're trying to run on loose pebbles. That's exactly what hitting the marbles feels like for an F1 car. Next up is scrubbing. When the teams themselves, they gently wear off the top layer of the rubber of a tire so that it works better the next time it hits the track. It's kind of like breaking in new shoes. Coming to the last part of this tire segment, lock up plus flat spot. Have you ever braked your bicycle so hard that it skids and it leaves a mark? That is called a lock up. In F1, it causes a flat patch on the tire which is called the flat spot. It makes the ride bumpy and kinda ruins your tire for the entire race. Understanding tires is like unlocking the subtitles to a race. And now you have got them turned on. Whether you're a soft, hard or somewhere in the medium, you've got the grip, literally. Tires are the shoes, soft, mediums and hards. But the track, that's the dance floor. Some tracks are flowy and elegant, some are chaotic and tight, and some are just there
to ruin your fave driver's weekend.
Let's break that down. No 2 tracks are the same. For example, Monaco. It's tight, slow and unforgiving, just like parallel parking but with stakes. Monza, that's just pure speed. Blink and they've already gone past. Spa, that's got smooth curves, fast straights. It's basically like the fan fave at this point. Now think of each track feature as a subject in school. Straights is PE, just run. Corners is physics, precision and pressure. Chicane is math. Left, right, confusion. Hairpins is detention. You slow down, rethink your life and try a little. Let's get into a little detailed explanation here. So straights are the long flat sections of a track where the drivers literally floor it. The car's going max speed and it's all about who's the fastest in a straight line. There's no turning, no grip drama, it's just speed. This is where the stuff like slipstream and DRS come into play, but we'll get into that later on. Now corners, this is where things get real. This is where the driver has to slow down, turn in, balance the car, and somehow try not to fly off the track. So you've got 3 different types of corners. Slow corners, medium speed corners, and high speed corners. So slow corners are the big brake zones, the tight turns, where you go like, oh my god, why is everyone bunching up? Medium speed corners, these are the ones where you need rhythm and trust. And high speed corners, you're turning and you're still going fast. It's equal parts bravery and talent. Corners are where you see the car's grip, the driver's skill, and usually the first signs of any tire pain. Now hairpins are like the rude aunties of F1 corners. They show up, stop the party, and test
Everything.
brake, reflexes, and your patience. It's a tight 180 turn, slow brakes, big steering, and a slow, long, awkward exit. Chicanes are quick left-right or right-left combos placed right after high-speed zones. Why? To kill speed and to test how fast a driver can brake, change direction, and not go flying into a wall. Every F1 track is split into 3 different sectors, basically chunks of the track which are timed separately. And the color system, it's a grading scale. So we've got purple, green, and yellow. Purple is your absolute best, like someone has carried the entire project. Green is personal best. You tried, we see you. Yellow though? Yeah, you've done better than that, babe. So when they say purple in sector 2, you know that someone is in their overachiever era. Okay, so you know the dance floor now. But you know when things get really interesting? When one car follows the other and the air, it suddenly starts acting like it's part of the race. Alright, time to talk about air.
Yes, air.
Sounds boring, but in F1, it can make or break a race. Slipstream. So when a car is speeding out at the front, it pushes all the air out of its way. This leaves a little bubble of less air behind it. And if another car is following up right behind,
Boom.
less air is equals to less resistance is equals to more speed. This is called slipstream or the tow, because the car in front is literally helping, tow the car behind.
You get the point.
It's like sneaking behind someone who's opened a heavy door and walking right through it. Drivers use this mostly on the straights to, try and catch up and zoom right past. But you can't stay there forever. Once you get close enough, you have to overtake before you run out of space or overheat your car. Coming to fresh air or clean air. The lead car gets all the smooth and clean air. There's nothing in the way, so there's good cooling, there's good grip, and there's good vibes. That's called clean air or fresh air. Basically, it's the air you want. Up next, dirty air. When the car in front cuts through the air, it leaves behind a swirly, messy airflow of air, which you can call the road version of turbulence. If the car behind is close enough, that car gets hit with all the unstable air, which is really bad. It's not good, clearly. Now, what is happening? You're losing your grip, the brakes and engine is heating up, you're sliding in the corners, and everything is getting harder to control. What is really happening here is that the downforce of the car, which basically helps your car get stuck to the ground, it disappears. So dirty air is kind of like the price you pay for being too close in the wrong place. Long story short, while slipstream helps you in the straights, dirty air screws you over in the corners. Also, please don't mind the lighting right now. It's very cloudy outside, so you'll probably see a variation in my lighting as well throughout this video. Okay, so you're turning a corner and you want your car to follow you like a loyal bestie, but instead it goes rogue. That's where understeer and oversteer come in. Understeer. When you try to turn the wheel in, but the car keeps on going straight, like it's ignoring you. This happens when the front tires lose the grip. The car wants to turn, but it's sliding like it has missed the memo. It usually happens when the car's going too fast in the corners, or the front tires don't have enough grip, or the car setup is a little too safe or too stable. And the fix? The driver has to back off, slow down, and just hope that the front cooperates. In simple words, it's basically texting to someone and getting left on red. Oversteer. Now this is the spicy one. Here is when the rear tires lose the grip before the front. The back end of the car slides out. Sometimes it's little and sometimes it's a lot. The drivers have to fight to keep the car facing in the right direction. When it's done right, it's kind of hot. But when it's done wrong, it's a lot of stressful radio messages and a spin. This usually happens when the car turns in too aggressively or when the rear tires are too overwhelmed. The fix? Catch it early and try to steer the other way just enough to keep it in control. And both can absolutely ruin your rhythm. So that was all about how your car can start acting up in the corners. Now let's get into the why of it. You know that moment when your coffee is either too cold or scalds your entire soul? That's how F1 tires feel about temperature. Too cold is basically no grip and it slides everywhere. Too hot gets too oily, grip dies, and the car is possessed. Just right. It gives you grip, it gives you control, and it gives you confidence. That's why before a race starts, you see all the drivers swerving around the track in terms of a formation lap. Please don't mind the lighting change again. It got way too dark out, so I had to switch on the light. Short for degradation, deg is when the tires slowly wear out and stop performing. Every lap they do, the braking, the turning, the racing, it chips away at the grip. So it's not really like a blowout, it's a very slow breakup. First, it stops gripping. Then second, it starts to overheat. And third, it just gives up. The car gets harder to control, and that's when the radio is like,
I can't look after this anymore.
Come into play. Now that we know what tire degradation actually is, let's get into what all causes it. The driving style. If you're smooth and steady, the tires stay loyal. But if you drive like it's Mario Kart, then the tires will give up in about 5 corners flat. Track surface. Some tracks are gentle and polished like Monaco, and some are full-on exfoliating scrub like
Spain.
Then we come to temperature drama. If it's too hot, they overcook and they start sliding. And if it's too cold, they never show up to the party. And obviously, it depends on the tire personality, which is your compounds, which is soft, hards, and mediums, the one we had discussed in the tire segment. So basically, you'll have to treat your tires right, or they'll treat your lap times very wrong. As simple as that. Coming to DRS. Think of DRS as a turbo flirt. Stay close enough to the car in front, and boom, you're allowed to open up and slide right past. DRS stands for Drag Reduction System, aka Formula One's speed boost button, but make it legal. Here's what's actually happening. At the back of every F1 car, there is a rear wing, but that also creates drag, which is like wind resistance slowing your car down. So what DRS does is it opens a flap in that wing and it reduces the drag, which makes your car go faster in a straight line. It's like unclenching the air brakes and saying bye to resistance. But here's the deal. F1 said you gotta earn when you can use DRS. So you've gotta be within 1 second of the car right in front of you, and there's certain DRS zones on each track. Also, it is not allowed in wet conditions because slippery chaos. Your car checks the gap at detection points, and if you are close enough, it gives you the green light. Quite literally. You hit the Activision zone, you press the button, and zoop, off you go. You've got that main character energy now until you brake or you lift off. That's when the flap closes. But if your timing is off, you're not overtaking, you're overcooking. Safety car, crashes, debris, drama. When things get spicy, F1 calls for a timeout. Enter the safety car and its digital cousin, the virtual safety car. Think of them as the race's emergency babysitters. It's a real car, usually a Mercedes or an Aston Martin, that leads the car at a slower pace when something wild happens, like a crash or a wreckage cleanup. All the F1 cars line up right behind the safety car, and nobody is allowed to overtake unless and until the race control says so. You'll know it's on when yellow flags wave and the glowing SC board pops up. It also shows up in the wet weather race during the start, aka the formation lap with supervision. And then there's virtual safety car or VSC. Now this is not an actual car on track, it's just a virtual restriction. Here, everybody slows down and they have to follow a target lap time, which is shown on the steering wheel screen, which is a little number called the delta. Cars stay spaced out and it's safer for the marshals to clean up without having the whole grid bunching up in the field. And the strategically, the drivers can pit during a virtual safety car or a safety car. And sometimes it is big brain energy. Why? Because everyone's already slowed down, right? So you lose way lesser time pitting now than what you would if you were actually doing it, under the normal like full speed racing condition. So yeah, the teams absolutely keep that option in their back pocket. The regular safety car bunches up the entire field. The comfy 15-second lead that one would have in the front will be gone now. Your rival is breathing down your neck and sipping in your slipstream. Here, race strategy gets flipped like pancakes. And just when you think it cannot get any messier, enter the lapped cars. These are like the extras who have somehow wandered into the main scene. And normally during a safety car, they're told to
skedaddle,
aka unlap, so that the stars can fight it out in the front. But during Abu Dhabi 2021, I know, F1 really said, you,
And not you.
and only cleared some of them, which led to the most controversial lap in the modern F1. Let's say reality TV shows could never. Okay, all of that was only half a part of the entire F1 team. And if none of that made any sense to you still, congrats! You now have the full F1 fan experience. Thanks for watching, and if this helped you in any way, please do comment and like and subscribe so that I know I have changed some lives. Okay, bye. Do not crash emotionally or otherwise.